everyone, welcome to another episode of Life Job at Time. This is a series unlocking roles through insight from our time talent on building serial bank. In this episode, Life Job at Time, we're going to explore the role product owner, and I'm Tuyến, your host. Today, we are pleased to welcome two special guests to join our show, Mr. Danny,
Hello.
Chief Product Officer, and Miss An Phan, Product Owner.
Hi.
Yeah, hi Danny, hi
Morning.
An. Thank you for joining us, and it's a pleasure to have you here. And can you give short introductions about yourself to the audience?
Sure, ladies first.
Yeah. Okay, so hi everyone. My name is An Phan. I joined TymeX 2.5 years ago. Currently, I'm taking the product belong to the group of savings and investment for both South Africa and the Philippines market.
I'm Danny, the Chief Product Officer. I've been with Time for 3 years. I moved here from Hong Kong. I've lived around the world in jobs, mostly across financial services. My role here covers both of our banks, South Africa and the Philippines. We're looking to expand into more countries. So like Anne, our roles are getting bigger every day.
So before we getting started, let's have a warm-up sessions. We're gonna have 6 questions and we're gonna pick randomly. And you guys will give us rapid answer as you can. Okay, are you
Okay.
ready?
Got it. Yep.
Okay, let's go.
Ready?
You go first.
Again?
Again. Yeah.
Okay. This one. 3 keywords to describe your daily work at Time. I'm gonna pick stimulating, intensive, and colorful.
Okay. Tell us about one of the memorable moments of working at Time. It's easy. I think the launch of GoTyme Bank in the Philippines, the day we actually got everyone together, we celebrated the first account being opened. That was probably the most memorable for me.
Interesting question. Stereotype of the role product owner. So I see that some people, when talking about the role product owner, they think that the product owner is just the one to deliver the message and the decision from the stakeholders. But in reality, or at least at time, it's true that we work closely with stakeholders, but we don't just deliver the message or decisions from them. We have to make decisions ourselves based on the feedback and all the information we got from the stakeholders. And very frequently, the teams, the other roles like business analysts, they also have discussion and get in touch with the stakeholder. They don't always have to pass through the product owner.
Okay, me again. The easiest one here. Not the easiest one. Name one of the aha moments that you have had when taking on your current role. I think, okay, so there is a habit, I think, as a product owner or working in a product team to think that you need to have all of the answers to be able to direct, to be able to lead, when the reality is, and the aha moment is knowing that the teams have got things that you don't have, and appreciating that if you just leave certain things to go, if you let certain things go, you get a better outcome than feeling that you are the one who has to say everything all the time and get everything right. So I've had many of those aha moments here. We've got very, very talented engineers, very good solution designers. If you give them a brief or a concept or an idea, they will come back to you with the aha moments as well. Name 3 skill sets that you think a product expert should have. Anne? No. I think, okay, number 1, negotiation. Right, so every day you deal with more information than you can handle. So being able to negotiate, whether it's with your team members, the business stakeholders, with the design team, anyone. So you have to be able to articulate and communicate, why you're making decisions, why certain decisions shouldn't be made, that kind of thing. The second skill set, I think, very relevant to time as well, I think, is resilience. So it's a tough job.
Yeah.
And that means, sometimes you can't save face all the time. You've got to be the one that takes the hit sometimes. So being resilient and knowing that decisions change, roadmaps change, business priorities change, taking that in your stride and knowing how to deal with that, I think is very critical to be a good product expert. And then I think thirdly, I mean, not in this order, but customer focus as well. So we are building products for customers, understanding what makes the customers tick, understanding how to find out how the customers tick, which is difficult for us because we're obviously here in Vietnam and the customers are overseas. The skill set there is being able to navigate and find ways to understand what customers want and what they might react to.
I think the last question for you, Anne.
Last one. Can you tell us one fintech product trend in 2024? Easy. AI.
Done.
Done.
Very, very popular one.
Yeah.
I want to listen more about your background, your experience. Can you share with us?
Me again. Okay, so before joining Time, most of my experience was in Europe. I actually started not in product management or in IT. I started in marketing and management, I mean business management in general. And then I spent a few years working for a startup in the automotive industry. At the role of a product manager. That was the latest experience before joining Time. Yeah.
Interesting. How about you, Danny?
So I joined from another digital bank in Hong Kong before I moved to Vietnam, and I've always worked in financial services for most of my career. I've worked in consulting across investment banking, retail banking. More recently, career has been focused on digital banking propositions and getting things to market.
So I'm going to start with Anne first. What led you to 3 keywords to describe your working day at Time that you shared before?
Yeah, stimulating, intensive, and colorful. So stimulating, this is more about intellectually stimulating, is because working at Time requires, the understanding and consumption of big load of knowledge and experience. So every day I get to be exposed to a lot of banking domain knowledge, talking with compliance, talking with accounting, finance teams. That means I have to consume and digest a lot of knowledge out of the, product management skill set. So it helps my brain to work and to, do exercise to be stronger. That's why I call it intellectually stimulating. And then intensive, yeah, similar to the first word. It's also because the workload at Time, yeah, we have to admit that it's very high. You have to manage your time very well. Yeah, so it's kind of overwhelming if you don't manage things well, and if you don't try to live yourself in that environment, you may feel very overwhelmed. And the last word I picked is colorful. It's because I work in different product fields, like savings, investment, specifically on 4 products with 4 different teams, both in Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi. So each of us is a different colors, from different region, from different background, and then it's make me feel very energetic. And every day of my at Time is very lively. Yeah, that's why I picked the word colorful.
Wonderful. So so how does your previous background help you succeed at Time as a product owner?
So as I mentioned before, the experience I had right before Time was being a product manager in a startup in the automotive industry. That one was like an e-commerce and a lead generation business. So thanks to that experience, I mean, even though I don't have a lot of banking and finance domain knowledge, My knowledge in e-commerce is quite strong, and that's helped me a lot in working with TymeX, because I think e-commerce and finance, fintech somehow are related. And at the same time, since I didn't come from the finance or banking industry, I can bring a new perspective, a new, fresh ideas and things that people in the banking industry, they may not think of. So I think that's also helped me, to think more out of the box. I mean, when I develop product and so on, I don't just think about the feasibility, if our technical functions can allow for that feature or not. I think more about the user experience and the final offerings we would like to bring to the customer, before thinking about technical feasibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. And you, Danny, you are Chief Product Officer. And can you give the introduction about product management team?
Sure.
Their background, because I know that they come from many countries and mix a lot of skill sets. And so how can they collaborate?
Sure. So we have the product team at Tyme is relatively small today, but we're expanding. As you mentioned, it's a mix of nationalities, it's a mix of backgrounds. So, Anne came from the automotive industry. We've got people come from digital wallets, companies in Vietnam, credit companies. A couple of our team have been with Tyme for many years. So we've got a good blend of not only experience, also seniority, years with the company, with Tyme, understanding of how the business works here. But we're always looking for people who have a fresh perspective as well. So I don't always look for people who've worked in digital banks before, or a wallet or something similar to the proposition that we're designing today. We're trying to have people who can grow into roles, who've got more of a sort of the intellectual mindset that you need to evolve in a product organization like we are, because the company will be different in 12 months' time. Our team will be different in 12 months' time. Therefore, I need people who can adapt like that as well.
Okay, great. So I think your answer also cover the question I'm gonna ask you, like what kind of potential candidate are you looking for? But you did perfect answer. Okay. So Anne, can you share your opinion about the role product owner?
Yeah.
The role and responsibility when you're working at Tyme?
Yeah. Okay. So the product owner at Tyme, first of all, I think the key responsibilities of any product owner, we also do here at Tyme, like we manage the backlog of the product. We care about the UI UX. I mean, work with the design team to deliver the best UI UX for the customer. And we work closely with the stakeholders to discuss the roadmaps, the priorities, and agree on the decisions for the product, and then translate into product requirements for the team so that they can deliver. Yeah, so I think the key responsibilities of product owners like that, and just the thing that I would like to emphasize about being a product owner, especially at Tyme, is that keep an open mind, keep being curious, because there are a lot of things at Tyme for the product owners to do. Like we have new products, we have new features, we have let's say a lot of things on our roadmap, right? For the coming
new technologies,
years. Yeah. So a lot of opportunities are waiting for you, the product owner, to take at Tyme. So yeah, keep an open mind and try to be adaptive for whatever changes we may welcome in the new years.
Little things that I'm curious about, the most challenging you face when you take the role PO in Tyme.
Let me think, because I have quite a lot of challenges here. So I need to decide. I think one of the most challenging thing is you may feel stressed if you try to make everyone happy, if you try to accomplish everything. But I think the key point is try to manage the expectation, and we do the product thing, put everything in backlog with priority. So we have a lot of let's say teams here. We have both the Scrum team, the IT team, the design team, the finance, accounting, compliance, legal, payment ops, a lot of teams from the bank. So everyone want to add requirements or what they want to do with the product. But of course, we cannot do everything at phase one at MVP. So if as long as we try to manage the expectations of people and of ourselves as well, that we're gonna do those things, maybe not in the first phase, but of course in the next phase, with the priorities agreed among the teams, and it's gonna be all right. So maybe own people won't be happy at day one, but for sure they will be happy in the next days to come. Yeah, so yeah, that's what I think as the most challenging thing for me at time. Yeah.
So Danny, can you share with us like how do product owner can contribute to our like Tyme mission, becoming zero banks?
Okay. I mean, every role equally important. If I look specifically at the product team, so one of the difficult jobs that we have today, as the mission is to build in the bank in many different countries and grow within those countries as well. So the product team work across all of the countries, and that's going to be the intention as we grow the business as well. The product team have to therefore understand what the customer journeys are across both countries, what the variations might be, what you localize, and then in turn they have to know the different teams there as well. So the product owners are key, as Anne's talked about, in being the interaction point with the businesses in each country as well. So a good product owner, the successful product owners here, are the ones who understand well how the pieces fit together across the countries, and then of course manage the stakeholders well within the countries too. It's exciting, it's tough. I think being a serial bank builder is not going to be a straight line. It's going to go like this, and the product owners are going to have to adapt, and they do adapt to these different challenges that they get every day. Yeah, I think we've got a good team in place to do it. I think we've got a big mission ahead of us, but I'm very happy with what we've got so far.
So
Yeah.
You want to add something?
Yeah, so when we talk about serial bank builder, that means working with multiple countries, multiple cultures, right? And I think our product team, we already have that. Like we have the diversity, I mean, not just different background, different nationalities. We have very strong international experience, like almost all of us, right? Working in more than one countries. Yeah, so
Yeah,
I think that would contribute a lot to the journey of Tyme to become a serial bank builder.
Great. So in the recruitment market, there are many roles like product manager, product owner, business analyst, or even project manager. So it's confused about the role and responsibilities. So in your opinion, what is the key difference, or like the key is in your opinion, what is the key difference in this role?
Okay. So at Tyme in the product team, we have portfolio product managers, we have product owners, we have business analysts, and they're supported by Scrum teams, the normal roles that you'd see in a Scrum team, and then also project managers as well. So we have a very confusing set of roles, plus business owners as well in each of the countries, right? So we spend a lot of time defining the lines of roles and responsibilities, but generally speaking, when people come to us from other companies and they talk about product manager and product owner, some people, they're interchangeable, so they think it's the same kind of role. Other companies see a product manager as someone who is focused on sort of the business aspects, if they don't do much of the delivery work, whereas the product owner is more hands-on with the Scrum team doing delivery work. I think here at Tyme we've got a bit of a mix of that. So, using Anne as an example, she's working with the engineering teams every day to deliver per sprint, but at the same time she's working with the business teams to look at the customer insights the feedback, the data, to define what goes next on the roadmap and what goes next into the backlog as well. So we merge it here at Tyme. I think the role grows here into a product manager role more when you cover more products and more features and more countries as well. So that's the career path and the evolution that we have here. Business analysts is another good example. So some companies that we meet in Vietnam don't have business analysts. The product owner is the one writing the stories, they're doing the process mapping. Here, because of the scale we're working at, we've separated the two roles. So the business analyst is very much focused on taking the user stories and actually turning them into requirements, or working with the engineering teams to think about how do the processes work and how does everything map across to the architecture as well. So the business analysts are critical as the glue to make sure that the product vision gets executed on, but the product owner is always involved in the delivery aspects as well. There's no perfect answer for it, and I know many different companies do it differently. I guess that just explains what we're doing here.
So I'm curious about your relationship with our engineer or our developer.
Okay, it's not high by your.
That's why you still survive until now, right?
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Okay, so how about you, Anne?
Yeah, I mean, apart from một hai ba your, yeah, I would say that the relationship between me specifically and then also product owner with the engineering team is very good. We have strong relationship because we spend a lot of time together almost every day. We talk in the office, we discuss the requirements, we meet each other in backlog refinement meetings. Yeah, so very close relationship.
Yeah, and I also heard that you are the idol in our developer.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So I will come back to the challenges. So what are the challenges as a PO role when we working in banking industry that compare to others?
I can take this. So as I shared previously, before joining Tyme, I hadn't worked in banking industry. I worked for automotive industry, e-commerce business. So I had never thought that the process to finalize the product requirements, UI UX, and all the product features could take that long. Because banking is working with people's money, so we have to be cautious. We have to make sure that we already cover everything. I mean, the risk related to their money. We have to make sure that we don't break any rules or laws. That means we have to talk a lot with compliance, legal team, accounting, finance. I mean, a lot more team out of the Scrum team, out of the UI UX. So I think that's the key difference between the banking industry and the other one. So since joining Tyme, I have learned a lot more about the other departments, the other domain knowledge for banking industry that I hadn't gained before in the other industry.
I mean, I'm from financial services through my career, but I think I've worked in big banks and I've worked in fintechs. I think of TymeX as a fintech and not a bank. We borrow a lot of technology practices that you see in non-banking industry companies as well. So banks are slow. I think we are not. We are fast. But to Anne's point, that there's a bigger definition of done, right? You've got to check with compliance, you've got to check with risk, finance, etc. That you may not have to do in another platform company. So there is a lag that might happen when you're launching products that the banks have to go through checks. But I'd say from a development cycle, from a product methodology point of view, we operate very similarly to non-banking companies, but there is that kind of layer around us that protects the customer from the risk that technology brings as well.
Yeah.
So Danny, when we come into the product roadmap, so can you share with us how do you balance between business value and all the technical things?
Okay, it's really tough.
Mm.
So I think the first thing that we sort of had to teach ourselves here was that the product roadmap is the technical roadmap as well. So obviously building a product, if you want to launch something to a customer, whether it's, it's a new feature, a new product, or a new part of the customer journey, there is a layer below that. There's the architecture, there's the data layer, there's the account layer that we have that all requires configuration as well. So there are enhancements or technical debt, some people call it, that need to take place at the technical layer. The product owners here are encouraged to understand the full depth of the product that they're building as well. So effectively, the roadmap then becomes, the technical roadmap as well to an extent. There is an element where there's modernization that the teams need to do. So we might bring in new technologies. The engineers, for example, moving into the cloud is one thing that was done a couple of years ago. That's something that isn't necessarily customer facing, but it means it's better performance for products, less latency. From a cost perspective, we can manage things on the product roadmap much better than we could do previously. So we have to balance these things by basically just doing prioritization fairly regularly. So at least once a month we get together with the business leads to talk about what the business priorities are. We also look at in TymeX with the heads of engineering, with the product team as well, understand what are their priorities as well. And then effectively one of the tough parts of the job is piecing those two things together. But we have the information. We've got the culture where everyone recognizes that the technical is as important as the customer or the business items as well.
Okay, great. You want to add on anything that Dennis shared?
Just that I completely agree with him that it's a tough job to balance both. But yeah, we have to remember both the technical side, the customer facing side, and also other items in the backlog that helps support the operations of the bank.
Can you share with us what opportunity for professional development and growth that Tyme provide for each individual with the growth product owner?
Okay. So I mean, the main thing is we're growing, right? So if I reflect on the 3 years that I've been here, the team has doubled. The product set has tripled. We were in one country, we're now in 2 countries. We now have 11 million customers globally. I think we had 3 or 4 when I first joined. The opportunities for growth as a product owner come from the business scaling. And my intention and my hope is to grow the team that we have here today, to make sure they get the opportunity to be exposed to the new growth opportunities that we have as a business as well. If I reflect on the chances on the day-to-day growth that the team get here, so we are using all the latest tools, whether it's data analytics, whether it's the execution tools that we're using, whether it's the UX research insights that we're getting. We're using the latest methodologies and tools to do these things. So this is a good place where we're investing in ways of work constantly, actually, for the product team, for the engineering team, for the business analysts, for everybody. So it's a good place to try things. We don't do much, I'd say, formal training. So we don't send everyone away, on courses for weeks on weeks to try and just learn in a forest.
I've never joined any course.
Right. So, okay. Well, we have some courses. Some people join them, but that's the style of learning. It's it's on the job. It's reacting to what the business provides for us. It's getting feedback from the team about where they feel other gaps, and then doing unique bespoke plans for people rather than mass product kind of training courses that other places might do as well.
So, how about you, Anne? Your real experience when you're working here, and any opportunity for your growth?
Yeah, I mean, I was joking when I say I have never joined any courses. we do have courses, but I mean, it's not like super formal training. We do more on the job training. Thinking about my own experience, when I joined Tyme, I started working in a completely different product that I have right now. So it was a product in lending area, but now I'm the PO for savings and investments. It shows that we have new opportunities, new products coming every day, every month. So yeah, it's there are always opportunities and new things for us to try. So that's what I like the most. Yeah.
Exciting when we grow and business grow, and a lot of things is coming. My last question, can you share with us one of the most memorable or like the value things that inspire you the most when you're taking the role for the owner? And with Danny, like any meaningful things that you inspire the whole team is the role like CPO.
So I mean, I'll talk about sort of my reflections on why I'm here as well. So I was inspired by Tyme. You mentioned the mission earlier, right? So we say we're unlocking financial potential for people. I think we're one of the few digital banks that actually are using the benefits of a lower cost base to actually deliver more products to people who are underbanked, who are unbanked, as well as looking at other segments of customer where there are opportunities to do a better banking experience for them as well. So I feel that every day I get up, that's what actually motivates me and inspires me to go. And I try and sort of translate that into the way we sort of do product vision, the way we do workshops, the way we work with the teams and to communicate what's going on from around the business as well. So, the team inspire me as well. So I'm not, nowhere near the expert in a lot of the work that we do. So Anne, joined not knowing anything about savings or investments. She teaches me about savings and investments now because she lives it every day. So it's very much a two-way street. But yeah, part of the fun.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think one of the most inspiring thing to me, apart from the fact that we got to work in different areas, there are a lot of opportunities for growth, is that I get to hear, stories directly from the leaders. I get to talk with them and hear them share about, when they started the banks, about their vision, about what they have in mind for Tyme for the coming years. Those are very inspiring stories for me, and I think Tyme is one of the rare places where we get to be in conversations with the high management people, like CEO, CTO, and that's a very rare opportunity that I find very inspiring and motivating for my job at Tyme. Yeah.
So thank you for your sharing. And my last question. If I were a candidate and I look around in the market and I saw Tyme, so why I should apply to Tyme for the product owner role?
Okay, can I take that?
Yeah.
I think we're doing things here at Tyme that so many other companies are not, right? So if you look at the scale that we're pushing towards in the next few years, entering Vietnam this year, more countries to come, different types of products, different business lines, the level of ambition here, and they use the word audacity, the level of audacity that some of the leadership team here have to try and grow globally, it means that this is going to be a very interesting ride for the next few years. And to be in an organization that gives you the opportunity to do that from the front in the product team, I think it's unrivaled, particularly in Vietnam. So I'd encourage everyone just to take a look at our story, to take a look at some of the news releases that we've got out to talk about what's happening next. And if that doesn't inspire you to sort of join the company, then I can't do much more really.
Wow, thank you.
I would say let's come to Tyme to challenge yourself, to grow and develop yourself, and to be ready to welcome the unpredictable, because who knows in which country we will open a bank in the future. Now we have Vietnam, after South Africa, after the Philippines. We don't know which countries come next, right? And last but not least, join us because we are nice people.
Like three of us, right?
Yeah, we are a very nice team. Yeah. So,
I agree.
Yeah, I agree too. Yeah. I'm working here like 6 years, and I do love the team, love the spirit of the team, and love our culture as well. thank you very much for joining us today.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time, and I hope that we can welcome you to another show, another episode to share more about the culture, your experience about our people, as we mentioned. Thank you for watching us, and we're looking forward to seeing you guys to the next episode of Life Job at Time. Thank you and goodbye.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.